Thank you very much for the introduction, and I'll finish in 15-20 minutes. It will be quick. I just wanted to present the medical aspect related with the family and the dynamics of population. And it's all related with the Qatar itself. As to how the population of Qatar has changed over the last 37 years between 1975 and 2012, and how it has affected the health of the mother and the newborn baby. And from health, I mean over here is the survival. How many of them are surviving and how many of them are dying. I'll just briefly go about the little bit history of the Qatar and the region. And this region has seen one of the most rapid changes that has been seen by any part of the world, and the life has changed within the lifetime of a single generation. And people remember all these things when they go and how the life has changed from this picture to this picture. It's an amazing development. And this development has not only affected the physical infrastructure of these countries, it has also affected the lifestyle as well. It has also affected the economy, it has affected the family structure, and so on and so forth. So it's a huge change, and you can feel, because we deal with the families, and we have got the families coming to us, and we've got grandfather and parents and the grandchildren, and you can see the difference between the three generations very clearly, the way they approach the things and the way they interact. Now, Qatar per se is a country with the current population, it's about 2.2 now, 2.2 million. And the world's biggest LNG producer, which is the basis of its very high GDP, which is very high as the lower two are the two hospitals where we were, the Rahman hospital, and the other side is the Women's hospital. Now, this is the economic profile of Qatar, which currently holds the highest GDP per capita in the world. Now, the trend in population, that's very amazing, because the population has grown tenfold in last 35 years. It was 0.2 million in 1975, and now it is 2.23 million. That's not the only thing, that not only the numbers have increased, the composition of the population has also changed. That's the current population. And the population is grossly skewed. You can see there are 75% male as compared to 25% females. And that's a very different scenario as compared to the rest of the country. Probably similar in many other countries, but as compared to the rest of the countries where females are a little bit more than the males. This is quite a skewed population. But here we are talking about the family population. That's what we are worried about, and that's what we want to talk about. This male predominance is mainly because of the single workers, which work in these countries, mainly in the construction industry. Now, within this population, again, the proportion of Qataris and non-Qataris is significantly different. 30% Qatari population in general, and 70% are expatriates. And within this, you can see the figure from various other nationalities. The highest are from the Arab nations and the Indians, Nepalis, Philippines, and Pakistan. Now, this is the population composition in the population in general, but the same is represented in the family population. And this is our own data from the Women's Hospital, from our own study. And again, within the family, 30% of the families are women who come to deliver, they belong to Qatari families, and 70% are not Qatari families. So the dynamics of the population have been changing significantly over the last 25 years. Now, coming back to the health of the mothers and the newborn baby, you can see between 1975 and 2010, how the population was grown from 0.2 million to more than 2 million. But at the same time, you can see the number of babies who are being born have also increased from as little as 2,000 in a year to now more than 22,000 in a year. So it has been going back to that. Now, that's our own research study funded by the Qatar National Research Fund of which I'm a lead PI, we call it PEARL study, which stands for Perinatal Neonatal Outcomes Research Study in the Arabian Gulf. And basically we are looking at the survival of mothers, newborn babies, and what we call the perinatal survival, which means the babies as well as some of the stillborn babies. Now let's have a look as to where the Qatar stands now in 2011 and 2012 with respect to the survival of mothers and the newborn babies. That's Qatar's maternal mortality in 2011, 9.85 per 100,000, and in 2012 it was 8.99 per 100,000. We have estimated this based on the ICD-10. So without going into that details, these are one of the very good numbers the world has. The newborn survival, for those who belong to the medical field, it must be a little bit easy to understand. Our neonatal survival is 4.9 per 1,000 in 2011 and 4.32 in 2012. The rest are just the details of this, how many babies survive in the first week and how many babies survive after that. That's about the perinatal mortality, and all this data is coming from our own PEARL study at this National Epidemiologic Survey. And our perinatal mortality is 9.55 in 2011. That's per 1,000. Now, how do we compare Qatar now with the rest of the world? Where do we stand? So that's an important question. So this is the maternal survival at the global level. There is the first yellow bar, and you can see that is about 260 per 100,000. And the next bar is the EMR, Eastern Mediterranean region. I just seen in the previous slide as well, which is the countries in the east of the Mediterranean Sea, which includes the Middle East countries and North African countries, just 320. But when you come to the figures down there, you can see this very, very good maternal survival, particularly in the Gulf countries, including Qatar. And Qatar is here then. And the Qatar survival is as good as is that of Australia. It's better than UK and it's much better than USA. In terms of total number of pregnant women or mothers who die within the first 42 hours, 42 days after delivery. In 2011, we had only 2 deaths, and in 2012, we also had only 2 deaths. And this is a remark contrast to what happens in the USA. There are 2 deaths a day in the US. We had 2 deaths in a year. And this was reported by the National Institute for Maternal Mortality in US. They call it at the delivery. That's the title of the report. They are extremely concerned about the survival of these mothers in US. But Qatar has done very well in their outcomes. That's about the neonatal mortality, our rates, the global rates, and the EMR. The global rate is 23 per 1,000. The EMR is 28 per 1,000. And here down you can see the Qatar's rate is about 4.9 to 4 per 1,000, which is as good as is that of the other countries in the region, as well as USA, UK, and Australia. So as far as the survival of the newborn babies is concerned, the Qatar is doing extremely well. It's all about the early and late neonatal mortality, which we have compared with the most of the European countries, and we stand in parallel to many of the European countries. This is stillbirth rate. The Qatar stillbirth rate is about 4.76 per 1,000, which is almost the same as in that of other developed countries like France, Netherlands, Belgium, and so on. And that is the early neonatal mortality, which means the babies who die within the first 7 days of their birth. So the numbers are here comparable as well. Now, how Qatar has progressed between 1975 and 2012 from all these things. As I have shown you previously, the population has grown from 0.2 million to almost 2.2 million, which is a 10-fold increase. And the number of births have increased only 10-fold as well, from as little as 2,000 to 22,000 now. So let's see what has happened and how Qatar has managed to keep its good survivals in spite of the changing population in total numbers and in spite of changing the composition of the population in terms of Qataris and non-Qataris and various nationalities coming. In fact, the current day Qatar is a multinational country now and a multi-ethnic country, and people come from various backgrounds, but in spite of this, the health system has been robust enough to maintain its integrity and has been able to deliver the same to both the population. Qatar is as non-Qataris, and the survival is exactly the same. And here you can see between 1990 and 2011 and 12, the Qatar's maternal mortality has gone down by more than 75%, from 49 per 100,000 to almost 9 per 100,000. That's the trends in the neonatal mortality. NMR means the neonatal mortality rate, and there is compositions early and late, and the perinatal mortality rate. And how significantly have they decreased between 1975 and 2011 and 2012. This is data from our own study, and from the statistics point of view, you can see the relative risk of neonatal mortality. If you see over here, it has decreased by about 87%, which is a great achievement in terms of the survival of the newborn baby. So we could not do the same because in the mothers, because the numbers are too short and it wasn't possible to do statistical analysis. This is about the perinatal mortality, which means the stillbirths and early neonatal deaths. And you can also see that there has been a significant drop early and late as well. And you can see the relative risk of the perinatal mortality is decreased by about 28%. So with all these good achievements and the good view of the outcomes, let's have a look on the health system of the Qatar as it relates to mothers and the newborn babies, what we call the reproductive health care in Qatar. But the first important thing is Qatar provides universal health care to all its citizens, and that is irrespective of the composition of the population. The population has moved, changed, and changed its composition, but the care goes across the board to everybody. And the healthcare spending, which was 15% up to 2010, has now gone up to 27%, which means a huge investment in the healthcare sector by the government of Qatar. Now, these are the figures how much care is given. These are the figures which have come from the Supreme Council of Health. These are the data from our own study. But here you can see that almost 100% of the pregnancies are attended by some kind of trained birth attendant, whether that is in primary care or in the tertiary care. Similarly, Qatar has moved to the hospital-based delivery since 1974, and currently more than 99.5% of deliveries are taken care of in the hospitals under care of the trained birth attendants. Similarly, once the baby is born, almost every single baby is seen by a pediatrician in this country. And you know, this country has got a mandatory birth registry. Every single birth has to be registered in this country. Otherwise, without that, you will not get your Qatar ID card, you will not get health card, you will not get passport, you will not get anything in life. So you have to register the birth. And almost 100% of the deliveries are registered as seen by the pediatricians, and all of them go for the newborn screening test as well. The immunization of children, which is a very important part of preventing the disease in children, it was 96 to 100% even in 1986. Measles immunization is a very important marker, and the immunization has been going on a very high rate. Other than the maternal mortality, less than 5-age child mortality is very low. The IMR means the infant mortality rate, which means children by the age of 1 year who die, is also quite low. So there has been improvement across the board in all sectors of maternal and child health, irrespective of the changing dynamics of the population. Now, the message which I wanted to convey is we actually did an analysis of the economic associations of this improved maternal, neonatal, and perinatal survival in Qatar, which are published in the International Journal of Women's Health. The three very important factors which we identified, which would help other countries to have an example as well, is first is reduction in poverty, the second is high rates of maternal education, and the third is improved parental health care. They had a very good association with the improved survival. Out of these, I'll just touch a little on the literacy rate of women in Qatar, which is very high, and this is data from 1990 to 2007. And if you look at the middle graph, it is the education level in women between the age of 15 and 24 years of age, which is the marriageable age. And you can see almost 98 to 99% of the women are literate. Literate here means that more than a primary school education. And that's the overall literacy rate of women in Qatar, which has been close to 100% since 1997 and 1998. So the conclusion of all this analysis was that Qatar has successfully established a reproductive health system with universal access for all in spite of a rapidly growing multi-ethnic population. And the services provided across the board to all the population, irrespective of the country or ethnicity of origin. And Qatar's excellent maternal and newborn survival remains independent of ethnicity and social status. Thank you very much.